Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good wherever you are. I hope you guys are keeping well. So guys, it looks like Ryan Garcia has been ordered to fight Isaac Cruz. And this is big news. This is big news. It's a great fight. Great fight. Isaac Cruz is coming off a good win against Gamboa, and Ryan Garcia is coming off a win against Emmanuel Tagao. He didn't look too good, but he was out very long, and he didn't. We know that he's been having issues outside the ring, which obviously overcame. But Ryan Garcia didn't look that great in that fight. He did what he had to do. For me, Isaac Cruz is a solid test and probably the toughest fight that he's going to have of his career. This is a real test. This is a real fight. A tough fight, and one that I think fans would get very excited about. I got attacked by Ryan on my channel when I said I think Isaac Cruz beats Ryan Garcia. A lot of people attacked me and saying, Imran, you don't know anything about boxing. So Ryan Garcia has definitely got a lot of fanboys in the sport. Now, I don't know who's going to exactly win this fight, but I'm giving you my honest opinion. Oh, you're boxing IQ. You don't know anything about boxing. No. I know boxing. I don't need to, go into whether I know boxing. I know boxing. And I'm not a fanboy of any fighter. I call it how it is. Right? People say, oh, you're a fanboy of Canelo. No. I call it how it is. When Canelo needs to be called out, I'll call it out. When a fighter needs to be called out, I'll call it out. Even if it's a fighter that I've got into the sport, or, I'll call it out, right? But when I'm giving you my opinion, it's not based because I like a fighter or not. I'm just giving you my opinion stylistically on how I think that fight will go, right? Ryan Garcia is taller than Isaac Cruz. He's bigger, he's longer. But you need to know how to use that. It's all good being taller and faster. Ryan Garcia's got flat feet. Cruz will get to him, right? Now it just depends on whether if Ryan Garcia has the chin to stand up to the power. Now, going off the Campbell fight where he was dropped by a guy that's not really known as a puncher. Campbell's not a puncher. As a Garcia fanboy, you may say Campbell can. No, he can't. Campbell's not a puncher. I've been watching Campbell's career here in the UK. I've watched all of his fights. He's not a puncher. And Garcia got dropped hard against him, right? So, for me, this is a very tough fight. I don't care what anybody says. But going back to it, I'm really excited because this is a tough, stern test. And Garcia has welcomed it. He said, I want this fight. Yeah, I'm so happy. I'm going to take this fight there, and there. He may want it. Does Oscar De La Hoya want it? Because Oscar De La Hoya knows that Ryan Garcia is one of his cash cows. He does not want one of his cash cows to get beat, because Oscar De La Hoya now hasn't got... See, Oscar De La Hoya's motto back in the day, I remember Oscar De La Hoya because obviously I was attached to Amir Khan. Obviously he's promoted Mayweather fights and stuff. But Oscar De La Hoya, when he had a lot of fighters, I remember the way he handled Khan. He was literally putting Khan in with everybody in the 140-pound division, fighting tough fight after tough fight after tough fight. And he actually made Khan a big star. But the way he was handling Khan is the way he handled his own career, where Oscar De La Hoya would fight anybody. He wouldn't care about the size difference. He'd just fight anyone and everyone. And I felt like Amir Khan had a bit of Oscar De La Hoya in him, where he would do the same. I feel like after a while, when Amir Khan lost to Danny Garcia, he became a bit distant from Oscar De La Hoya, because I think Amir Khan's team around him, the people around him, realized that Oscar De La Hoya is just slinging him into fights against the best all the time, where actually you got to be... I believe when Oscar had Amir, I feel like Amir felt that he was he was the best. No one could touch him. He had that kind of invincibility. He didn't care who he fought. But when he got knocked, like the Lamont Peterson fight was a fight that he thought he had won, so he wasn't thinking. But when he got knocked out by Danny Garcia, Amir Khan, and I think the team around Amir Khan realized that Oscar De La Hoya is just slinging him within the best of the division. You need to calm down a little bit. Yeah, fighting the best is good, but you need to also be careful, because you don't want to end up ruining Khan completely. And Khan at that time was obviously a massive asset. He was a guy that could generate a lot of money for the people around him, because when you're a guy like Khan, who's a big star, he generates a lot of money, not just for himself, but for the people around him. So they didn't just want Oscar De La Hoya to keep pushing him into big fights against tough guys. And, you know, he could win, but he could lose as well. And they wanted it to be managed carefully. And I believe Oscar De La Hoya used to have that motto. And I believe now Oscar De La Hoya's motto has changed. The reason why it's changed is because he hasn't got the fighters that he used to have. He hasn't got as many fighters. So the fighters like Ryan Garcia that are superstars, he doesn't just want to push them into tough fights, you know, because he knows that if they lose, their stock and their value go down. I think it's come to a point, though, in Ryan Garcia's career where Oscar may not have a choice, because he needs to have a tough fight. He needs to fight somebody because people are getting a bit frustrated. So, and we don't want another Manuel Tagau type fight, a boring 12-round snooze fest. So we want a 12-round slugfest. Even though I don't think that would be wise for Ryan to go into a slugfest with Isaac Cruz. But it depends on whether Oscar gives the approval for this fight. Look, this is a good fight. This is a very tough fight. It's a 50-50. For me, it's a 50-50 fight. Simple. You know, it's a 50-50 fight. And let's see if Oscar De La Hoya approves of this fight, because it is a good fight. The WBC have ordered it. Let's see if Ryan Garcia wants it. Ryan Garcia is going to take this fight. He wants it. It's whether Oscar De La Hoya gives it approval. And if he does, if the fighter wants it, the promoter should have no problem. But again, the promoter's got to look at Ryan Garcia as an asset. You know, he's an asset. And, you know, you don't want to sling that asset in a fight which he could potentially lose at this stage. But again, I think the time has come now to take the stabilizers off Ryan Garcia and let's see if he can swim. Let's see if he can ride the bike. Let's see if he can go, you know, and swim. You know, in the ocean. Let's see if he can do it, because this would be a very tough fight, and this would be a fight now that if he wins, he'd get a lot of credit for. So this is a really, really good fight. Let me read out some quotes here. So the WBC has ordered the lightweight title eliminator, so it's the eliminator as well, between Ryan Garcia and Isaac Pitbull Cruz. Per a letter obtained by ESPN, if no deal is struck, purse bid on June 14th. The WBC 135-pound title is held by Devin Haney, who meets George Kambosos for undisputed fight. So there you have it. It's also for an eliminator. I don't know how it worked, because Devin is going to be fighting George Kambosos, so that's going to be an undisputed champion. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be other mandatories as well. So we'll just have to wait and see. You know, I'm pretty sure if Ryan wins that fight will be very lucrative. If Cruz wins, then I don't think he'll get a shot, because I think if Garcia wins, I think there's a good chance Devin could fight. If Devin beats Kambosos, or Kambosos may fight Ryan, because those are big fights, right? Those are big fights, and big money fights. Whoever wins, Ryan Garcia is a big money fight because of the name that he's got. He's a big draw, so that would be a huge fight for the winner of the Kambosos and Haney. So yeah, I think it's a good fight. I think it's an eliminator. It puts them in a good position to get a world title shot, and I'm pretty sure that's what Ryan Garcia needs to do now. Ryan Garcia needs to start looking for a world title shot, because he's never had a world title fight before. So this is an opportunity for him to step closer, and we'll see if he's ready to beat those guys. Now, Isaac Cruz is a problem. Isaac Cruz is a pressure fighter. He's very powerful. He's got a great chin, and he lands and he throws awkward punches, which will cause Ryan Garcia a lot of trouble. If Ryan Garcia is not able to get Isaac Cruz out of there, or not able to hurt Cruz or get Cruz to respect his power, Garcia's in big trouble in this fight. Trust me, because Cruz will find a way to land. Cruz will find a way to land on Ryan Garcia. And going off what I saw, even though Gamboa's washed up, and going off what I saw against Davis has got a very good chin. And I felt like Cruz hurt Davis in that fight. Ryan Garcia could find himself in a lot of trouble, because believe you me, Cruz has got serious power. He can punch. This is a very, very tough fight for Ryan Garcia. And if I'm honest with you, if you're asking me who I'm picking Cruz. I just feel like Cruz. Now, if Ryan Garcia pulls it off, and for me, you know, I'm gonna give Ryan Garcia a lot of credit. But if I'm going off what I've seen so far and of late, I just think Cruz is a beast. I just think Cruz's pressure, his power, will be too much for Garcia. And this is why I doubt that. This is why when they were negotiating previously, I didn't think they were serious because I was like, there's no way they're going to put this Garcia in with this guy. Why are they going to put him in? And I even said that if you're going to fight Isaac Cruz, why not go and just fight Haney and Kambosos? Because those guys, the winner of that fight, would fight you anyway because you're a big draw. You're a big money fight for them. So this is what I was trying to say, that Ryan Garcia, we know, could have fought Devin Haney. Right? Ryan Garcia could have fought Devin Haney. Hernan that wanted that fight. But, Ryan Garcia's people didn't seem like they wanted it. So this is a kind of a fight where there's a lot more risk, but not huge reward for Ryan. I'm telling you, this is a very, very tough fight. This Cruz guy is very, very good. He's good. He's a very good fighter. And the Gervonta Davis fight showed us that, look, he beat Gamboa, who's walked past his best, but the way he beat Gamboa, he absolutely battered Gamboa, destroyed him. So for me, this is a very tough fight, and one that I think if Ryan wins, Ryan for sure is the real deal, and he's ready for a world title. This is that type of fight. If Ryan wins this fight, he's ready for a world title fight. He's ready for the big boys. A lot of people say that Ryan's not ready. If he wins this fight, he's ready. Because Cruz is ready. Cruz proved it against Gervonta Davis that he's a top fighter. A lot of people thought that this is a cherry when Gervonta, but now Cruz ain't looked at as a cherry. Cruz is looked as a legitimate contender. And this is why a win against this guy and Ryan Garcia will be seen as a guy that could do some stuff in this division. I'm really looking forward to this fight because if they make this fight, this will show us how good Ryan Garcia really is. Or this may show us how good Isaac Cruz is. Because some people thought Isaac Cruz was unlucky against Gervonta Davis. They thought the fight was very close. So if that's the case, right, this is going to be a tough fight. And I just don't see a Cruz fight against anyone being an easy fight for anyone. Just Cruz's style is such, and he's so tough and he punches hard. I just don't see how this is an easy fight for anybody. So this is a real tough fight for Ryan Garcia. And people coming at me because I said I thought Cruz wins is absurd. Because trust me on this guy can fight. And Ryan Garcia is vulnerable. We've seen that. We've seen him go down against a guy that's nowhere near as the puncher Cruz is. Campbell is a very good technical fighter. He's got an amateur style. He's very good technically. But he's not got that rawness. He hasn't got that aggression. He hasn't got the power that Cruz has got. He hasn't got that, that killer instinct that this Cruz has. If Campbell had that killer instinct, he probably would have stopped Garcia in that fight. But Campbell, he's more of a safety first type fighter, box and move, and he's that type of guy, and Garcia were just in the end too good. He was too young, too fresh, too fast. But that might not be the case against Isaac Cruz. So again, I think this is a proper fight. This is a real test. This is a proper test. It's, for me, 50-50. And like I said, you may not agree with me, but I'm leaning towards Cruz in this one if this one does get made. Because just because Ryan Garcia has been inactive, he is vulnerable. We know he can be hit and hurt. Cruz has got power. He's relentless. He's aggressive. He's going to push Garcia on the back foot. I just don't see how this is an easy fight. If Ryan Garcia is not able to hurt Cruz, I can't see him keeping Cruz off for 12 rounds and not getting hit with something that's going to hurt him. I just don't see it. I just think Cruz is like, they call him Pitbull, and he is a Pitbull. He fights like that. And I just don't know how Garcia would keep him off. And he also throws punches from awkward angles as well, which are going to cause Garcia a lot of issues. So this is a proper difficult fight as far as I'm concerned. And if Garcia wins, fair play to him. I'll give him his due and I'll give him his credit. But, this is a tough one. Trust me on that. It's a tough one. Leave your thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.